If you're unsure which players you should be targeting in double game week 7, don't worry, I've got you covered in today's video. Starting off today's video, I thought we would take a look at the teams actually doubling in game week 7 and have a discussion about whether or not it's actually worth kind of investing in these teams with our free transfers, with our potential wildcards, or maybe even a free hit. And personally, off the back, I think 1 to 2, maybe 2 at the max, and that is if you've already got one of these players. Looking at the two fixtures on screen, Burnley take on Newcastle and then they play Luton, and then Luton on the other hand play Everton and then they play Burnley at home. It's not a great set of fixtures for either, but you would have to argue that Luton's are just that little bit better with that Everton away in game week 7, and then the second half of game week 7 taking on Burnley at home. I think we saw the effect of Kenilworth Road today. I actually watched that game in full and I thought Luton, they did not impress me, I'm not going to lie. They weren't a very good team. I think they had opportunities, but they're very wasteful in front of goal. They kind of play this kind of crossing style of play that seems to have very kind of minimal impact in terms of shot creation and all that. So it's definitely a little bit of a worry. Everton will go into that game week as well off a very impressive performance and a very impressive win against against Brentford, as well. So obviously they're going to be a bit buoyed by that. The thing with going with Luton players as well, you have to kind of take this into perspective. They've conceded 11 goals over the opening 6 game weeks, so they're not getting battered, but they've only scored 3 goals. They are not a free-flowing side, like I said. This double it looked a lot better on paper a few weeks ago when Everton were really poor, but now with the information that we've got, with that performance that Everton put in today, and from watching Luton, yeah, I'm a little bit worried. So like I said, I think having 1 to 2 players for this game week, if you already have Kabore, is one of those players that I think, if you've already got him, I think just stick with him. If you want to invest in some of the other ones that I'm going to suggest a little bit later in the video, then that is fine. But any more than that, I would not be suggesting. I'm not really too keen to take on any Burnley players. Newcastle away is an extremely difficult fixture for any side in the Premier League, never mind one that has failed to pick up any points. I am filming this at the half-time in the United game and they're 1-0 down at the moment. I haven't watched any of that game either, so can't really comment on their performance so far. But if they do come away with that, maybe it does change the kind of narrative for this game week. But at the time of recording, I still would not be suggesting going for any Burnley assets. But let's take a look at the potential assets that I have outlined that you could potentially look at for double game week 7. Here they are on screen. We've got Morris, Kabore, Obeng, Bayer and Trafford. We're proper getting into the nitty-gritty of FPL. This is what I love, finding these weirdo players for these double game weeks, looking at teams. Like, this is probably the only Luton game I watched was this week. I might watch one of next week's, probably the double one. I'll probably watch the second one, the Burnley one. But, you know, after that, I'm probably never ever going to watch another Luton Premier League game unless they're playing someone like City or anything like that. So this is what I love, the nitty-gritty part of FPL. Morris, for me, is the top asset. I own him in my team. If you didn't know, it's Carlton Morris season. We absolutely feasted today on a mega haul with 9 points. Yes, it was a very controversial penalty, but he hit the post. And to be honest, he looked like Luton's best attacking asset. As you can see from the data, 1 goal, 1 assist in the past 5 game weeks, 1.68 expected goal involvements, 18 points, 5.5 million, and still only 2.2%. I do expect that to rise. I expect him to also have a price rise as well, with him kind of hauling in game week 6. I think a lot of people are going to jump onto this double game week bandwagon. I think the player to go with is Carlton Morris. He would be the one that I would be looking to get in above everybody else, just because he's so cheap, he's on penalties, and he has been involved in every single one of Burnley's goals this season. So he's the one that is leading the way for me, that I would potentially be looking to get into my team if I didn't have him. Obviously, Luton's fixtures after game week 7 are appalling, so this is very much a 1 week punt. You've got to have an exit strategy to get back out of these players. But yeah, Carlton Morris does offer that. You could easily downgrade him to an Archer at 4.5. You know, there's lots of other players as well around the 6.5 as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored today. Everton's next 2 after game week 7 are really good, so that might be a potential switch that you could look for. But yeah, Carlton Morris, #1 target for me from these double game weeks. Kabore is a player that I know a lot of people owned. As you can see, the most highly owned player on this list, 5.2 if you went from him from the start and you have him available, I thought he looked quite impressive. As you can see, he's got good XGI for a defender as well. Only picked up 9 points. I don't expect Luton to keep any clean sheets, but he might be one of those players that does pick up an attack in return. He did today with a fluky penalty, but you know what, we take it. He might actually still come off the bench for me in my team, which could be, you know, amazing to get those points. But yeah, I think if I had Kabore, maybe Morris would be like my second player that I'd go for, but any more than that, I don't think I'd really look elsewhere. The other players that I've outlined, we've gone for the two Burnley ones. We'll come on to discuss about them. But one of the players that caught my eyes today was Ogbeni. I'm probably absolutely butchering that, so I do apologise. Ogbena, something like that. Absolutely butchering it, but I was watching the game today and he was the bright spark in that Luton attack. All the play down the left hand side was coming from him. I thought he looked super impressive. Hasn't been starting a lot of games. He is a forward as well, so it would mean potentially not going with Morris, but maybe if you're on draft FPL or potentially maybe a free hit, he could be one that you look at. I think Brown as well is another player that has been super impressive for me kind of watching that game today. Those were the two standout players in kind of the Luton side, apart from Morris, that I'd maybe look to get in. But again, I think you like proper, you know, you're in the weeds there, to be honest. I think just go with Morris. Like I said, he's been involved in every single one of Luton's goals so far this season. He's on penalties as well, and he's pretty much a 90-minute man. So I think he's the one to go for. There is a little bit of rotation on the left and right hand side of that Luton attack, but he's just one of those players that I want to kind of highlight in today's video, so when he scores next week I can just go, yeah, look at me, Big Don, you should have subscribed. Moving on to our two Burnley players, we've got Bayer and we have got Trafford. Bayer was one of those top kind of popular 4 million defender picks. I think if you've got him, that's fine. I wouldn't personally be looking to bring him in. I think Kabore is the better of the defensive options. Maybe Amari Bell as well with those fixtures, but yeah, a lot of people have Bayer. I think if you have him, play him, great. You get a double game week. If not, I wouldn't personally be going looking out for him. And then finally, we do have Trafford. Again, I know a lot of people might be in a sticky wicket situation where they might not have a playing goalkeeper. Maybe they want to upgrade that second goalkeeper on the bench and take full part of that. I think I still would prefer the Luton goalkeeper, but again, I can't really see either of these sides keeping clean sheets in either of the games. So I wouldn't be I would not be recommending either of these, to be honest. Like I said, Morris for me is the top option that you should be going for this game week. He is the one that I have outlined, the one that I've brought into my own team and put full faith in this week. He's hauled, but don't be expecting that every single week. But like I said, you do get those penalties that, you know, are such a great asset. We've already seen it from him so far this season. 2 of his goals have come from penalties, none in open play so far. That is a little bit of a concern, but he does look to be kind of the focal point, the main kind of piece of their attacking asset. Then I'd probably say Kabore, and then anyone after that I probably would not be recommending to bring in your side. Like I said, 1 to 2 assets max, no more is required. If you've got any questions about your team or about double game week 7, let me know in the comments section down below and I will try and help you there. If you want to hit that subscribe button as well, it would be massively appreciated by me, and if you want to like the video, that would be absolutely mega as well. Thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck this game week and enjoy the rest of your day.